Hi everyone, and welcome to part number 1 in the HTML5 and CSS3 course/series. In this video, we're going to be learning about the core basics of HTML5. Now, as you can see, I'm using Visual Studio Code to program my HTML5. You can use Visual Studio Code as well, or you could use a simple text editor like Notepad. However, if you're using a simple text editor like Notepad, you must remember to change the extension from .txt to .html to let the computer know that you are programming an HTML document. We can just close that, and without further ado, let's get started. So, we can create our first page in our file or folder. As you can see, we have a folder called HTML5 tutorials. Just hit new page and name this page page 1. Again, we need the extension for .html. It is required for the computer to know that this is an HTML document. So great, we have our first web page in our folder HTML5 tutorials. So let's start out with, what is HTML5 and CSS3? HTML5 is the latest version of hypertext markup language. You can use HTML5 or Hypertext Markup Language 5 to build web pages and websites. What is CSS3? CSS3 is the latest version of cascading style sheets. What can you use CSS3 for? Well, you can use CSS3 to design the web pages and websites that you build and make them more attractive. So, let's start typing some HTML5 code. So, start out with the less than and greater than signs. Within the less than and greater than signs, type in exclamation mark, and in all caps, type in doctype. So let's just hit enter and start typing in our code. The first thing that we're going to add is something called the HTML tag. What is a tag? A tag is a keyword that defines a web page. So, an HTML5 tag will define your web page as an HTML document. An HTML tag is required and is 100% necessary for a HTML5 web page. So you have to have it if you want to create a web page. If you don't add an HTML tag to your code and you run the program, then it will not work, as the computer does not know that you want your code to be run as an HTML document. So you want to first define that your document or web page is an HTML document. So we type in a tag by typing in the greater than or less than signs, as I have done right here. Within the greater than or less than tags, you type in the name of your tag. In this case, we want it to be HTML. And as you can see, a description pops up. We can just see read more. The HTML element represents the root of an HTML document. So, every tag has two parts, an opening part and a closing part. Tags are also known as elements. If you open a tag, it must be closed later on in the program or code. So we opened our HTML tag, we must close it now. Now, how do you close a tag? Well, type in the exact same thing on a new line. The greater than and less than signs, and within them type in HTML. Now, before the name of your tag, type in a /. This is how you close a tag. So let's review tags. Tags have two parts, opening and closing. Once a tag is opened, it must be closed later on in the code. Tags are also known as elements. And what are tags? Tags are keywords that define your web page. An opening tag looks like this, and a closing tag looks like this. An opening tag is the name of your tag surrounded by the greater than and less than signs, and a closing tag is the same thing except you add a / before the name of your tag. Now, all of your code will be between HTML tags, will be between these two, will be between the opening and closing HTML tag here. Whatever code is within a tag has the properties of the tag. So whatever will be programmed inside these HTML tags will be defined as HTML. You don't want to code anything outside of HTML, because then it won't be defined as HTML and it won't be run properly when you run your web page. So all of your code must be within these two tags, the HTML tags. So let's create a new tag called head, an opening head tag and a closing head tag. Now before we add our closing head tag, we can read what the head is. Can't seem to get it on right now. Okay, the head element represents a collection of metadata for the document. So the head tag is like a container for metadata. Metadata is data about data. Some examples of the head tag is the titles tag and the link tag, as well as the meta tag. So again, the head tag is a container for metadata, and metadata means data about data. So we have our opening head tag right here. We have our closing head tag /head. Now within these two head tags, we're going to create a new tag called title. Title opening tag and title closing tag. And you've probably figured out what the title tag is for. Yep, it's for naming the title of your document. So again, as I said, whatever code is in between a specific tag, the code inherits the properties of that tag. So whatever code is in between these two HTML opening and closing tags inherits the properties of an HTML document. Whatever code goes in between the title tags inherits the properties of being a title. So we'll type in and go ahead and name our title My First Web Page. Of course, this choice is entirely up to you, but for the sake of this video, I'm just going to name this My First Web Page. Now, we can just save our program, right click and click View in Browser. We'll open it with Google Chrome. And as you can see, you have your first web page here with the title right here. Note that when you use the title tag, it doesn't mean the title that will show up on your web page. It means that the title that will be on the tab. So let's go ahead and learn about creating a title that will be on your web page. So we'll create a new tag called the body tag. We'll have an opening body tag, and we can just read about it. The body element represents the content of the document. So we have an opening body tag, and we'll add a closing body tag. The body tag is just like the body of an essay. It has the most important information, and usually most of the information itself within it. So we're going to type in all of the main stuff of our web page right in there. So as I have told you, we want to create a title to show up on the web page, not just on the tab. To do that, within the body tags, we'll create an H1 element or tag, an opening H1 tag and a closing H1 tag. And you can read the description as it pops up. The H1 element represents a section heading. So H1 is basically like a heading or subtitle. The number, so H defines a heading or subtitle. The number right next to the H defines the size of the subtitle or heading. The smaller the number, the larger the size. So as you can tell, H1 is as large as it can get. So within the H1 tags, we'll type in the name of our web page. Again, My First Web Page. And this is a title that will actually show up on the web page, not just on the tab. Now we can save this, go to our web page, and refresh. As you can see, My First Web Page has appeared on your web page or website. Let's say that you want it to look better. You want this to be in the center, right about here. Well then, you can use the center tag. The center tag basically centers the code. So we can wrap this line of code, we can wrap around center tags around it. So we'll create an opening center tag right here and a closing center tag at the end. Whatever is within an element or tag inherits the properties of that element or tag. So my first web page will inherit the properties of being in the center, and it will be centered. We can save this, go to our web page, and refresh. As you can see, it appears in the center of your web page. So now what we're going to learn is the final thing that we will learn before we wrap up this video. How to print out some text as a paragraph. Well, you can use the paragraph element or tag to do that. It is represented by a P. So we also want this within the body tag, so we'll just hit enter after the H1 and center code, and we'll go ahead and create a new paragraph tag, an opening paragraph tag, and as you can see the description, the P element represents a paragraph. So we have our opening paragraph tag and our closing paragraph tag. Within the paragraph tag, we'll type in whatever we want to show up, whatever we want to show up on our web page. Let's say we want to type up the simple line of, "This is a web page. It is also my first web page." We can save this, go to our document or web page, and refresh it. As you can see, this is a web page. It is also my first web page, or whatever we put in our paragraph tag shows up as a paragraph on our web page. So that is our wrap. That is it for part 1 of HTML5 and CSS3 course/series. If you liked the video, don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and I'll be back soon with more content about the HTML5 and CSS3 series very soon. Thank you for watching.